Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Sinead. Aherne. In today's top stories, there's been a worrying increase in the number of COVID cases in Waterford in recent days. A second COVID-19 vaccine has shown very promising results. While in sport, Waterford have an All-Ireland quarter-final date with Clare this Saturday in Porkyqueeve. Waterford has the fifth highest incidence rate of COVID-19 in the country. 18 new cases were announced for Waterford yesterday. It brings to 82 the total number of cases confirmed here since Friday. Waterford's 14-day incidence rate is now 154.9. Darren Skelton, journalist with the Waterford News and Star, spoke to Damien Tiernan on Data Today.
It's frustrating for people seeing such a massive jump. 43 when we had been less than 5, and there was a day there where we had 0. And then suddenly you're looking at 43, 21 and 18 in 3 days in a row, and you're kind of going, okay, where the hell is this coming from?
The numbers of patients with COVID-19 at University Hospital Waterford has increased slightly. There were 3 confirmed cases on site last night, according to the HSE's daily operations update. That's up from 2 on Saturday and 1 on Friday. There were no confirmed or suspected cases in intensive care in Waterford. A second COVID-19 vaccine has shown to be almost 95% effective. US company Moderna plans to apply for approval for its vaccine in the coming weeks, as Casey O'Riordan reports.
Just a week after Pfizer and BioNTech said their vaccine was over 90% effective, Moderna has published an early analysis of its trial. 30,000 participants in the US were given 2 doses of either the vaccine or a placebo 4 weeks apart. Of the first 95 people to develop COVID symptoms, just 5 have been given the vaccine, which means it's 94.5% effective. The news will add to the confidence that a vaccine can help end the pandemic. It comes at a time when Ireland is experiencing a worrying development. The 5-day moving average has begun to persistently increase. The average daily number of cases is now 413 compared to 380 just 5 days ago.
The pandemic unemployment payment will be subject to income tax despite an effort from the opposition to overturn the government decision. An Oireachtas committee is debating the finance bill which gives effect to the budget. Parties had tried to argue the PUP was not taxable prior to August when the payment was put on a legal footing. Sinn Féin's finance spokesperson Pearse Doherty says it's a move that will punish those who lost their jobs.
How many times as Finance Minister have you brought forward an amendment to the Finance Act that actually asked us to rewind back time and tax income in this way? Because by God, you never did it for the vulture funds. By God, you didn't do it for the banks when they were carrying forward their losses.
A Fianna Fáil councillor in West Waterford wants people to be able to live where they want to live. Work has begun on making a new development plan for Waterford City and County. The 2-year process is at the pre-draft stage, with local councillors now having their say. James Tobin says it must be a Waterford plan for Waterford people.
We want to discuss what's going to be left in rural Waterford when all this is over. What I want for rural Waterford, I want people living where they want to live in Waterford, not where a regional plan and somebody from some other county tells us where we can live.
Hugh O'Brien is a senior executive planner with Waterford Council. He says rural development is something they're very aware of.
We need to ensure that our rural communities are as resilient and as robust as our urban ones. And, the provision of services, community and physical services and infrastructure are vitally important for that. I suppose we are engaged at the minute in looking at how our settlement strategy and how our settlement tiers may eventually be derived. So it's important just to look at the functionality of those different settlements within their geographic location.
A crucial week for Brexit lies ahead, with crunch talks set to resume this evening. But both sides are warning that substantial gaps remain, with time fast running out. Our political correspondent Sean Defoe reports.
Boris Johnson took to Twitter earlier to tell people he's fit as a butcher's dog and bursting with antibodies despite having to quarantine after coming into contact with someone with COVID-19. It's an inopportune week for the British Prime Minister to be waylaid as we enter what could be moving week for Brexit. Foreign Affairs Minister Simon Coveney saying we're running out of time to get a trade deal done.
We are simply running out of time. If we can manage to negotiate an agreement that both sides can live with, then the ratification process does take some time.
Significant gaps remain, largely over free market competition and fisheries. UK Environment Secretary George Eustace says he hopes the EU will budge.
We're not asking for anything miraculous. We're really asking for what other countries like Norway and Canada already have. And so it should be possible to reach that agreement.
We have seen this script plenty of times before, of course. A week hailed as crucial before the goalposts are moved again when there's no deal done. But time now is very much running out, even for a last-minute deal, and UK and EU negotiators will meet again with that hanging over them at 6 o'clock this evening.
A boil water notice remains in place for more than 1,200 people in County Waterford. People in Kill, Ballylaneen, Bonmahon, Ballyvadden and Anstown are still being asked to boil their water before use. It's after a microscopic parasite called Cryptosporidium was detected in the supply. Irish Waters say the first test for the presence of Cryptosporidium came back clear. They need 3 in a row for the boil water notice to be lifted. Those tests will take place this week, however bad weather could have an impact upon the results. Construction's underway in West Waterford on smart work locations. In Cappoquin, a derelict building's to be repurposed as office space for remote working, with 20 spaces set to be available in the town. Along with Lismore, Tallow and Villierstown, they make up the Blackwater Valley Economic Development Zone. Dennis McCarthy is director of Cappoquin Regeneration Company. He says it will be important for the town's economy.
In the case of Blackwater, we're going a step further in now that we have the money to refurbish the building. It'll be the first to be undertaken in the town, and construction is due to begin in the next couple of weeks on the town. So we're quite excited about that, and it will help the economy of the town and help the social part of the town as well.
Barack Obama is calling on US President Donald Trump to put Americans first and concede defeat to Joe Biden. Trump tweeted this morning to say he won the election, which took place almost 2 weeks ago. Over the weekend, he appeared to concede the race to President-elect Joe Biden, but said he only won because the election was rigged. Former US President Barack Obama has told CBS News that Donald Trump must do the right thing for the American people.
It is your job to put the country first and think beyond your own ego and your own interests and your own disappointments. My advice to President Trump is, if you want at this late stage in the game to be remembered as somebody who put country first, it's time for you to do the same thing.
In your view, it is time for him to concede?
Absolutely. I think it was time for him to concede probably the day after the election.
WLR Sport.
With Virgin Media, George's Street, Waterford. 1 gig broadband from Virgin Media. The fastest just got faster.
Very good afternoon from the Sports Desk. I'm Nigel Kelly. We will start with Gaelic Games, where Waterford face Clare in the All-Ireland quarter-final this Saturday. The Daisha full-back line will need to contend with Clare's Shane O'Donnell if they are to come out on top and proceed to an All-Ireland semi-final, something that will pose its own unique challenge if his teammate Tony Kelly is to be believed. He was speaking to Clare FM.
During the forward in the country that gets on as much ball as Shane O'Donnell and work. I'd say of every score we get every day we go out, O'Donnell is setting up 60-70%, so I'm getting fouled for frees. And as I said, I've never seen a man to work and turn over ball as much as him. He's absolutely unbelievable. He's one of the best players I've seen ever play for Clare.
The game with Clare will be played in Páirc Uí Chaoimh this Saturday at 3:45, and we'll have live commentary of the game with Fergal Hartley and Kieran O'Connor, thanks to George Corbett's Skoda. Elsewhere, the defending champions Tipperary have a date with Galway in the LIT Gaelic grounds at 1:15, while in rugby, Ireland have a number of injuries to contend with ahead of this Saturday's Autumn Nations Cup test against England at Twickenham. Johnny Sexton and Robbie Henshaw have both been ruled out of the game after picking up injuries in Friday's win versus Wales. Sexton has a hamstring strain, while Henshaw has a groin strain. Jacob Stockdale is also out, having missed the Wales match with a calf injury, but Ian Henderson and Shane Daly have returned to training, while Sexton's replacement Billy Burns is currently following the return to play protocols after a head injury, leading to doubts over who will play at out half this weekend. Head coach Andy Farrell suggests that Conor Murray could be an option in that position, but the former Irish international Alan Quinlan thinks it would be a risky move.
Can he play out half? Of course he can, but I think it's a risk, and he's not obviously used to playing there at high level, and if you're playing a tier 2 nation, I think, yeah, for sure, if you're going to a World Cup and he's your third choice fly half, the other two get injured, you'd back him to go in and do a job there, no problem. But I think it's a big risk if they're thinking of doing that on Saturday.
Well, Leinster and Ulster both put their 100% record on the line in the Pro 14 this evening. Defending champions Leinster host Edinburgh at the RDS from 6:15, with Dan Levy making his first start since his knee injury in March 2019. While Ulster are away to Zebre in Italy at 6 o'clock, with Marcel Coetzee bringing up a half-century of appearances for the Northern Province. In golf, Tiger Woods scored a 10 under par 3/12th as the defence of his Masters golf title ended in a final round 76. The American finished 19 shots behind the winner Dustin Johnson. Woods told Sky Sports News the later date for the tournament meant the conditions were very different from the usual ones they contend with at Augusta.
No one's ever played competitive golf here in November. There's a lot of Bermuda here right now, and some of the bump and run shots are a little bit easier because of it. But come April, that'll be no longer the case, and we'll have flowers.
And in the Olympics, the president of the International Olympic Committee, Thomas Bach, is confident spectators will be allowed into venues at next year's delayed Tokyo Games, but he's warned that participants and fans will likely need to have received a COVID-19 vaccine to protect the Japanese public. Bach made the statement after meeting with new Japanese Prime Minister Yoshida Suga. Sports news on WLR is thanks to Virgin Media Waterford.